Hi, Miss Morphew here. Remember, we're going into week 6, and a good student remembers things, but a genius might take some few notes or screen captures. Last week's, in the week 4 and 5, you really explored organization and outlines, and you began to watch information from Lindy about how to use the library resources. You saw a video of me in news about Learning Center tutors and that easy 100 you can obtain. And you looked at presentation technology and resources. This week, we have our first expository speech due. There are 3 big expository speeches. Informative is the first. I've determined that there is a particular focus, even though you get some choice. In your outline, you'll want to make sure that your thesis and restatement points right back to your specific purpose, the benefits of a local business, organization, or resource that you've chosen, the benefit to that local resource that helps to build a stronger community. I've noticed in some outlines that people want to add an appeal. That's really more for persuasive, but if you want to insert that somewhere in your body and mention it in the restatement, that's absolutely fine. And preview and restatement, that's fine. So there's different ways we can support the organizations that you choose. When you're talking about delivery, remember with your videos, here's your chance to play and practice. Looking to the light, right? Look to the camera. When you really, especially come to a point, you say, this is important to me. Look to the light, and it makes it look like you're looking right at us. Consider all the optics and sounds around you, and use your body and your movements, your gestures, and your facial expressions in order to deliver your message well. Again, that technology can help you as well. Visual aids might be something you choose to use. The U.S. Department of Labor in '96 and then OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, later did some testing, and they show that your audience is going to remember about 10% of what you do orally or share orally, and about 35% if you just did a visual. However, if you can combine the visuals and the oral, your audience may remember about 65%. I'm also going to put the little graphic there to remind you about what makes an effective slide. You see the difference between those two? In week 6, you're going to have discussion post 6, as our course outline says, where you list your topic and 3 benefits. As a collegiate responder, I want you to reply to at least 2 of your peers. Particularly your base group members would be great, but you can do others. And I want you to maybe ask them a question, make a connection, extend it. Don't just say, rah, rah, that's a great topic, can't wait to see it. Reach out to the library and the tutors, because those were things that you really should know about, those navigational methods and resources that are available to you that can enhance your work. Your informative outline is due in Dropbox. Remember that you've got to fill in everything, including that MLA work cited down at the bottom with your minimum 5 sources that you're going to quote somewhere in your plan, your outline plan. Please do highlight those citations, exactly where you want them and how you are going to say them out loud. By putting that on your outline plan, you'll begin to see if anything could be improved in the way it's being said. Your informative speech URL is due after the outline. Hopefully you'll be able to get that outline in ASAP, because we've sort of been working on that for a couple of weeks. And if you get the outline in, you may get feedback from me, not just the number. Please read that feedback. To the informative speech, you'll reply to at least 2 of your base group members. I know a couple of groups are having a hard time getting peer responses. We're going to deal with that in a little bit. You can reply to others, as early instructions said, if your group members aren't engaged. And finally, as always, date a reflection journal about your thoughts and feelings, your connections, your experiences with our content, or even something beyond our content that relates to what you're thinking. Some common outline feedback is listed here, and I recommend that if you are very interested in how we take off points for the outlines, that you pause this and just take a quick screen capture or photo. But I would like to point out a couple of key things that I say often. Remember that an attention getter doesn't have to be just one-liner. It can be layers. Maybe you give a fact and a statistic and a story or something about your topic, so you lead and draw your listeners in. The credibility statement is the same. If I was doing an informative speech about the benefits of our local hospice house here, I would say maybe a fact about how I know about it, a story about my relatives that had gone to hospice house or obtained their services, and maybe that I donate to it. By adding those three little things, by layering the credibility, you increase your ethos. There is a direct need for your thesis and restatement to point right back to our specific purpose. I've listed the specific purpose on our informative speech outline. So make sure it sort of uses those words, local, benefits, right? Your main points can do that too. Point right back to the specific purpose. And then another one I'd like to point out is that we do take off some points if your support is like a one fact underneath your main point sentence. Here's one main benefit, and I'm going to put one little statistic down there. That needs to be fleshed out, right? Whether maybe you can call that layering too, but your main points need to be supported. Make sure you've got that MLA format right. You can ask for help on those. I write a lot of feedback because I think of communication as interactive and learning as interactive. So you might look at that outline or that outline feedback on a computer rather than a phone, because I tend to write quite a bit if you get it in early enough to get feedback. Use the feedback to improve your plan, but always remember that it's a writer's or a speaker's prerogative to use that feedback or not. I base my feedback on my experiences watching many, many speeches and on the rubric that I have graded a number of times. So if you want, use my ideas. So use your rubric. You can see exactly how we're going to grade these things. So if you get a number on your speech, you can look at feedback there, but you can see it in advance by that rubric. As always, we have our office hours on Tuesday and Saturday, and I hope to see you pop in some of those Zoom sessions so that you can just confirm you're on the right path, ask a question, tell me something interesting that's happening in your life, and we'll talk soon.